What's going on, guys? My name is Tommy. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another episode of the Forgotten Race Review. Today, at the request of Kenneth Baptiste, we're breaking open our copy of the Inner Sea Monster Codex and we're brewing up the Minotaur as a player race. Oh, by the way, also, First Bestiary is where you can get your hands on their stats. Remember, if you guys are liking what you're seeing, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And as always, if there's a race you'd like to see us cover, brew, or anything in between, throw it in the comments. We'll jump right on it. Today, this episode of the Forgotten Race Review was brought to you in part by Tim Bartlett. Tim, thank you so much for your help, my friend. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for intriguing with us. It's been just a blast. Now, let's dive in. So in Greek mythology, the Minotaur is a mythical creature portrayed in classical times with the head and tail of a bull and the body of a man. It dwelt at the center of a labyrinth, which was an elaborate maze-like thing designed by the architect Daedalus and his son Icarus on the command of King Minos of Crete. Why, you may ask? Well, there's a fun story. After he ascended the throne, Minos competed with his brothers to rule. He prayed to Poseidon to send him a snow-white bull as a sign of support. He was, of course, to kill the bull to show honor to the deity, but he decided to keep it because of its beauty. Thought Poseidon wouldn't care. But to punish him, Poseidon made his wife fall deeply in love with the bull. And, you know, when bulls and human women love each other very much, that's how you get a Minotaur. Eventually, Theseus slew the Minotaur with the most noble and honorable of weapons, a ball of twine, and the rest, as they say, is mythology. In Pathfinder, the Minotaur race originally hails from the distant land of Iblidos. They were first created by Lamashtu as a curse on the children of a village that raised her ire, but since then, Minotaurs have grown into a thriving people in their own right. Most of the Inner Sea region's Minotaurs live among the mountains of the Isle of Kortos, that's on Absalom, within the Five Kings and Menandor Mountains of Avestan, and the Shattered Range of Garund. Most of them prefer solitary lives on the surface, with each Minotaur tending to a labyrinth crafted of stone, glacial ice, forest, brambles, things of that nature. Only in large underground cavern networks do Minotaur tribes live in anything resembling large numbers. Even then, they can only exist where plentiful prey is near at hand, for Minotaurs have voracious appetites and don't share well, even with their closest kin. By and large, Minotaurs worship the demon lord Baphomet, who is a subtle force of corruption within civilized humanoid societies. Some forego the cultivation of a physical labyrinth in favor of a maze of betrayal, secret societies, hidden cults, things of that nature, disorienting their victims in a political morass just as surely as if they wandered through a maze. Now, we don't have lore as written stats on how big and spooky these guys get, so we'll brew that up today too. The Minotaur is a large creature, which means it stands probably somewhere, if you include that hump coming off its back, between 10 and 12 feet tall, we'll say. Females are probably right about in the same size, but bull Minotaurs, much like in the real world, we assume are much more muscular than cows. So females stand about the same height, but weigh, we'll say, a couple 100 pounds lighter, with males coming in anywhere from 1,900 to 2,000 pounds, females coming in 17 to 18. Now, these guys are monsters that live by and large solitary lives out in the wild, so you would think that would mean that they'd need to come of age pretty quick. So I'm going to say that Minotaurs come of age at 1 year old. And since they are monsters out living in the wild, eating whatever they can find, the proverbial liger of the Inner Sea region, who eventually became able to breed true, they probably don't live the longest either. No more than, let's say, 20 plus 1d4 years. Seems good to me. Now, let's hit the stats. Based on the stat array that we see in Bestiary 1, I'm going to say that a Minotaur receives a +2 to its strength and constitution, but a -2 to its intelligence. These guys are strong and hardy, but not exactly the brightest knives in the shed. They are, in fact, large creatures, which gives them a further +2 to their strength, but a -2 to dexterity, and a -1 on their attack rolls and armor class due to their size. They are monstrous humanoids with dark vision out to 60 feet and a whopping +5 natural armor bonus. All Minotaur characters receive a +4 racial bonus on perception and survival checks. And they have a gore attack, which deals 1d6 points of damage or 2d6 on a charge with the powerful charge ability. All Minotaurs also possess an ability called Natural Cunning. Although, again, they're not especially intelligent, they possess innate cunning and logical ability, which gives them immunity to maze spells and prevents them from ever becoming lost. Furthermore, they are never caught flat-footed, so by and large, this is a constant, no-direction cantrip mixed in with a little uncanny dodge. Seems good. And it is good, because I have literally played this before. A long time ago, in an in-person group that I was in with a bunch of high school kids, because it's kind of where we ended up. A friend of ours was GMing at a local game store. We were bereft of game at the time, so of course we jump right in. That party ended up with myself playing the monk that would become my centaur Soha, who I know and love so hard, a war priest, a rogue, a witch, and a wizard. So when level 7 came around and the time came to start leadershiping in stuff, before I knew how super awesome and powerful a monk could become, I decided I was going to bring in something a little tanky because, again, I had no idea that my armor class was eventually going to be as stupid high as it was on that centaur. Regardless, it was a Minotaur Fey Blood Rager, and he was a lot of fun to play. We dumped most of his mental stats. He had a good enough wisdom. Intelligence, of course, in the toilet. Charisma had to remain high. He's a Blood Rager. He needed to cast an essentially just big ol' pale Minotaur with a shield and a falcata, super dopey, neutral good. Hi everybody! Don't hurt my friends! Not really unlike how Kane plays Cashew over at Broken Universe, I suppose. And it was through this character that I found a couple of really awesome rage powers and feats. Because of course I was a Primalist Blood Rager, because most Blood Ragers are, because Primalist Blood Ragers are so good. The first one is a racial rage power, usually reserved for the Rage-bred Skinwalker, and hey, they're on the list, we'll get to them. Boar's Charge says, while raging, when you hit with a gore attack as part of a charge, you automatically score a critical threat. Yeah, so charge, hit with your horns, boom. Lots of damage. Combine that with Butterfly's Sting, which says that when you confirm a critical hit against a creature, you can forego the effect and grant the critical hit to the next ally who hits the creature with a melee attack before the start of your next turn. And then here comes my monk who can flurry with lances on a charge. It was good times. I definitely recommend the Minotaur race to you out there. For the GMs, it can be a good way to segue into the Lost Lands of Galarion, go a little east, head to Iblados. It also allows players who want to play something a little stronger get that feeling, get to be that big dude swinging an axe around without being too terribly overpowered. Unless, of course, you're playing a lot of survival in a world where a constant no direction might be just the best thing ever, but really, I think we can let the players get away with it this once. But what do you guys think about the Minotaur? Have you played one? Have you fought one? Would you brew it up any different? If so, throw it in the comments. We'll keep that conversation going. And again, as always, thank you guys so much for your time. That's all we have for today. Again, be sure to like and subscribe for more videos. The next episode of the Forgotten Race Review, where we go to a race that's definitely a little less forgotten, and we cover the Drow, noble or otherwise, drops next Monday.